TNA Wrestling has just crossed the line again with an action-packed pay-per-view quality edition of TNA Impact. Ultimate X matches on tap. We had some more crossovers on this week's episode. Nick Nemeth one-on-one with the walking weapon Josh Alexander for the TNA Championship. So much to get into, and it actually Impact starts with a great again, starting the match hot, starting the show hot. Triple threat match to qualify for the Ultimate X at Emergence. Chris Bay from Bully Club ABC, John Schuyler, and Chase NXT's Chase University's Riley Osborne, who got a great reaction from the NXT from the TNA fan. Lots of great Chase U chants as the match went on. Kazarian comes out as well and sits at the commentary desk to get a closer look at the action. This one scouting the competition, maybe Kaz, wily old veteran, and making sure he's got every angle covered when it comes to the Ultimate X match in just 2 short weeks at Emergence. Really looking forward to that. Don't forget you can watch that and all weekly TNA programming on the TNA Plus app. You can also watch it on the Zone and you can watch it on AXS TV. But the TNA Plus app is the best place to catch TNA wrestling because you get it live. Anyway, the match itself, all three wrestlers' styles complemented each other. You don't always necessarily get that when, because they're all quite similar in many ways on this, and sometimes having it too similar just makes it a little bit too samey, not a lot of differentiation within the match. But this was high pace, high octane, fun, fun opener. And actually, coming out of that opener, Riley Osborne of Chase University hits a picture perfect shooting star press to pick up the victory to send him and Chase University to Emergence for the X Division Championship, along with obviously Speedball Bailey, Kazarian being another one. So fantastic opportunity for Riley Osborne to win the TNA X Division Championship at Emergence. But the match itself, really fun, quick paced opener, a great way to start the show. So, well, again, well done, TNA. They always seem to do it though. And when you've got matches of that quality and you've got a show of so much quality matches, it kind of works very well. And to start it off with that was brilliant. We mentioned Nick Nemeth just now. He was obviously taking on Josh Alexander, in the main event, I believe, for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And basically, the whole point of this was to hype up the match for later on. But Nick came out and said, the biggest mistake that Josh made was mentioning Nemeth's family. And tonight, Nemeth will stand over Alexander and prove to him how damn good he is, which is interesting because I like to see, Nick is going to be a very competitive main event for sure. Um, and I'm just wondering if that's gonna if we're gonna see a new world heavyweight champion, because sometimes when you bring the family in, you get that little bit too, sometimes you can be a little bit overexergent. You can make a mistake. You can try and do something that takes maybe puts you a step too far, or you make a split second mistake, which could lead to Josh Alexander picking up the victory in the main event. We will see. Um, Santino was in the ring and he was trying to figure out, what he can do about this Matt Cardona, PCO Steph Delander issue. If you remember the wedding that they had, Cardona come out and hit PCO with a brick. And then when they were on honeymoon, he never made it to the honeymoon because Cardona had beat him up and was basically brutally assaulting him. And as he does that, he calls Cardona out to the ring, Matt Cardona. He comes to the ring and Marilla's trying to, find out why he did what he did. He talks to Cardona about what he did. Um, Cardona was even talking about hurting his own jaw for 3 days. But Marella was saying about how he hurt his own jaw for 3 days. But he has a proposition for Cardona, which Cardona basically said, tells Morella they go back and he's acting like he doesn't know him. He says that he's the indie king, the deathmatch god, and he doesn't work for Santino, TNA, or anybody else. Cardona did talk about what he did at the wedding and the honeymoon, and basically Santino laughs and basically gives him the evidence about what he did. Shows him basically. Says he can have him prosecuted or he can listen to Santino's proposition, um, which is interesting. And basically, if he doesn't agree to the proposition, he'll send Cardona to jail. And that proposition is to wrestle PCO. As long as he's getting these people looked over the contract and everything's good, he'll fight him in Tampa, Florida. I'm not quite sure that Matt Cardona is going to want any piece of PCO whatsoever, to be quite honest with you. I think that, to have his people look it over generally means that he's gonna he'll find some way to wriggle out of it somehow. Cardona does not want PCO one-on-one without any surprises. That's how Cardona's done his business on PCO. Ever since he surprised him at the wedding with the brick that was in the present, he blindsided him during the honeymoon to get him in the ring with PCO one-on-one. I'm not so sure that the Cardona's going to want that at all. But we will wait and see. His team are going to look over it. We'll find out exactly what he's said, well, what his team would say. Hopefully next week. I'd rather it just be signed so the match is made official for Emergence, because we are only 2 short weeks away from TNA Emergence. So we will find out what happens, I'm assuming, next week on Impact. We go backstage and Frankie Kazarian is there now. He boasts, showing next week how he's going to get the TNA World Championship out of by the way of the X Division Championship. And Eric Young is walking up to him. They had a little verbal back and forth. And Macklin also then enters the frame. Steve Macklin, Mr. Mayhem himself, and the free exchange. I would say some cold stares, these three. They don't like each other, do they? They go to another video package of Macklin, who really his goal is to work his way back to the TNA World Championship, and he's going to stack bodies up one by one. And he was naming a lot of the top TNA stars at this point. And he's also saying that he's never faced Eric Young in a match before. And that is going to change. He wants to face and beat Eric Young. He says Eric Young wants to be the heartbeat of TNA. And Macklin says he's the new blood that's being pumped through the veins of the heart of TNA. And he says that Eric Young's going to be the first body that he stacks. And he's going to tag him and bag him. And of course, finishes with the signature Mayhem for all. Macklin and Eric Young seems a match that I would love to see on TNA. Macklin has got all the tools that's needed for a world champion. Been world champion, of course. Eric Young is that wily old veteran, though. And you've always got to be careful when you're taking on veterans, because they sometimes always find a way to get the best of these newer, I would say, maybe younger, hungrier, who knows, talented. So as much as I want to see this match, the warning to Macklin would be, just be very careful that you don't, like we said earlier on with Nick Nemeth, you don't jump the gun. You don't try and do something that a little bit different, or you don't get caught. Don't get too cocky if you're winning it, because you get caught and then you lose the match. That'd be a match I really want to see. Does it happen at Emergence? Does it happen at Impact? We will wait and see. Giselle Shaw was next against Tasha Steelz. I like these two. Giselle Shaw, since she's come back, she's been winning matches all the way through. She's doing it the right way with Gail Kim. Tasha Steelz is becoming the Cardi B of TNA wrestling. But yeah, this was a really good women's match actually. Although Tasha Steelz did try to gain an advantage by finding a steel wrench under the floor, which the referees spots it basically, uh, and stops her from using it, of course. Um, but Giselle Shaw's one. She was, riding high. She was champion. She then lost the title, lost a lot of matches after that, and time to get her back into the Knockouts Championship picture. I mean, if you want to be in that Knockouts Championship picture, I don't know because we all know who the champion is, which is Jordan Grace, of course. But Tasha Steelz was throughout this match was trying to cheat her way to victory. She was trying to put her feet on the ropes. Again, there was lots of refs on watching this match. There was someone on the outside the ring. They were, and they were pushing her feet off as they come on. Every time she was, trying to leverage the ropes, the feet were coming off the ropes. It was quite fun to see actually. And as Tasha Steelz went to have a go at one of these referees at ringside, Giselle takes over, this time connecting with the running knee and getting the victory. Yeah, one thing you don't do when there's loads of refs around is cheat, right? Or at least try and cheat because you're going to get caught. It's exactly what happened with Tasha Steelz here. I do really like Tasha Steelz though. She's got something about, I call her the Cardi B of wrestling. Giselle Shaw is still on that descent to the Knockouts Championship. Again, it's maybe a descent that you wouldn't want to do right now with the champion being Jordan Grace, but it seems as if Giselle Shaw is getting back in the saddle, getting back onto winning ways, and really, really good to see as well. So we'll see if she does get a shot in the future for the TNA Women Knockouts Championship. Uh, now, this is a match that I wanted to see Moose and Mike Santana. But before they even get to that, they go backstage. You see the system. They are standing over a beaten up Mike Santana. Uh, they're knocking him down. They knocked him out. There was a bunch of TNA officials that rushed to the scene to tend to Santana. The system taunts him. They woof as they walk off. I think they was taking the mick out of that. And we head to a commercial at that point. And when the show returned, the system and Dirty Dango introduced them, make their way to the ring. Their ring gear looked a bit like Mark Henry's 1996 WWE gear, funnily enough. But what's going to happen with this? Is Santana going to be fit to take on Moose? And Alicia Edwards has started. Do you want to know something? She said, the stupid fans of Tampa may have expected Moose versus Santana, but Santana is not medically cleared. It looks like Moose has the night off, but then the lights go out. And the spotlight begins swirling, sorry. The shot changes to Santana arguing with the doctor, pushing past him. He was going to get to the ring and fight regardless. He hits the ring. He brawls his way through the system. The ref comes in. He calls for the bell. And the match with Moose is on. And Moose does get the early offense in this match. It's obviously a bit of a shame because I would like to have seen Moose and Santana one-on-one, fresh, without Santana being beaten up by the system before the show goes on the air, which it was a shame. So before the match to get system anyway, but this match was so good still. The crowd are really into it with TNA chants. Santana has been so impressive since he's come back to TNA. Obviously, he was great anyway, but he seems to have a new lease of life at the moment in TNA. I really, really loved watching him compete on TNA wrestling. That it was such a good match. These two loved every minute of it, and I think I would like I say I want to see this match again just because it was so good. These two again, we're sort of saying about how they complement. They've both got that sort of aggressive style of action. They both are heavy hitters, but there's also an element of, speed about them. Obviously, Moose being a former NFL player, Santana, is so gifted in so many different ways on this. And they, again, sometimes when they complement each other really, really well, it pits for a great match. And it exactly was that. At the end of the match, though, Moose yanks Santana's arm down over the rope before Santana can re-enter the ring himself. Moose hits him with a ginormous spear to end the contest, which is a real shame. But Moose did pick up the victory. But funny you should say that. In October, in just a few short months' time, I'll be heading down to our good friends at Slam Masters Wrestling over in Cardiff, where I will be actually seeing and I think meeting Moose of the system and TNA legend, the War Beast Rhino, will be there over in Cardiff. So I'm looking forward to seeing good friends at Slam Masters, and I'm looking forward to seeing the two TNA guys in Cardiff at Slam Masters. I mean, it's Rhino's first ever trip to Wales. He's doing a seminar as well, funny enough. Anyway, after the match, it's just sort of skirting away from the match. After the match, the system were going to close in on Mike Santana. They was looking like to do it, to beat him up again, to go with the beat up that they had at the start before the match. He's had a grueling match with Moose. They looked to do it again. We didn't say his name, but he did appear. And that man is Joe Hendry. He got a massive reception. The crowd absolutely love him on this. He gets on the mic. I mean, he did obviously, steel chair in hand, clear out the ring. And he tells the system they've made enemies out of Santana and himself. He reminds them they are strength in numbers. And he tells Moose and JDC they'll be squaring off against two more enemies of the system next week. And that is the returning Hardy Boys. Matt and Jeff Hardy will go against Moose and JDC next week on TNA. It's great to have the Hardys back. Jeff, brutally assaulted via the system a couple of weeks ago. To have him back on TNA TV alongside his brother Matt will be great. Really looking forward to it. Can't wait for that next week. Spitfire at the back. Danny Luna, Jody Fret. Danny Luna off the back of another impressive retention of the Revolution Pro Women's Championship just this past weekend against Nina Samuels. She did get attacked by the Cutthroat Collective, though, but she has backup as well in the form of Kanji and Rio. So it's good to see Danny getting some assistance. But on this one, they were in the stairwell and they dare Masha Slamovich to try and basically, again, from what she's been doing recently, it's do or die, and for them, for Spitfire is do or die, and they will regain the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Interesting with these two. I've liked this partnership of Luna and Fred. I think it's worked really, really well together. Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards, though, are they two people that you'd want to pick a fight with? Who knows? Who knows? Nevertheless, it could happen again. We may get there. I'll tell you where we're not going to get it, and that's Emergence, and I'll tell you that why in a minute, actually. But with the first things first, remember last week on Impact, Ash by Elegance attacked Jordan Grace with the kendo stick. And we get back to the Juggernaut herself reacting to what happened, and she said, "You know what? If Ash by Elegance wants a fight, she's going to get one," which we we may see in future episodes of TNA. Again, but that is going to be part of the match. We're going to see Emergence, a 6-woman tag team match with Jordan Grace, Jordan Grace, Danny Luna, and Jody Fret going against Ash by Elegance, Alicia Edwards, and Masha Slamovich. 6-woman tag team match on Emergence in 2 weeks' time. Looking forward to that one. Should be a really good six-woman tag. Yet another Ultimate X qualifier. This picked Rich Swann of First Class, Ace Austin, the Bullet Club ABC, and Jason Hotch. Again, this match was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Obviously, AJ Francis was there. We knew that. But, these three together, again, it worked so well. And it was just another exciting, it epitomizes the X Division match. There was diving all over the place. It really had. It did have a lot of assistance from Rich Swann in this as well. Chris Bay did come out and get involved in this as well, just to even up the odds a little bit to take out AJ Francis right near the end of the match. And Ace Austin was setting up for his finisher. John Schuyler come out, who run a short in the early match. So John Schuyler, if you remember, was come up a little bit short in the opening contest this evening on Impact. And he distracted Ace Austin, which led Jason Hotch, in my opinion, to get a real upset on this. I was expecting Chris Bay. I was probably expecting Chris Bay to win this out of three, or Rich Swann to win if it wasn't Chris Bay. Wasn't expecting Hotch at all, but he got the job done. Jason Hotch gets the job done, scores a massively upset victory on this, in my opinion, to get the Ultimate X. But again, we got to remember, Ultimate X weight classes out the window, doesn't matter. It is all about, just high octane action in the Ultimate X, and that will be a really great addition to the Ultimate X match with Jason Hotch in there, albeit with some help with John Schuyler, of course. But really good match. Loved it. We remember earlier on in the show when we said about Matt Cardona, PCO, about it. Matt Cardona convinces Santana to have a six-person mixed tag match in Tampa first, involving himself and PCO, and then a one-on-one bout between the two at Emergence. Cardona sort of pretends that that's the plan, which Santino is all happy about. Again, I'm not convinced in what Cardona is saying here. I really am not. I don't know. I've got a feeling something's not quite right here between it. But find out next week, of course, and on TNA, and keep it on the TNA Plus app as well. Please do not forget that. We've got 30 minutes of the show left, and we're getting into the main event. And I'm thinking this is going to go long. This is going to be great. What a main event. The stage was set. The match was highly anticipated. Reigning champ Nick Nemeth, walking weapon Josh Alexander. Oh my God. Did they deliver or what? What a match this was. Go out of your way to watch this match. I can't wax lyrical about this enough. Two brilliant athletes put on an absolute clinic in that ring, and it goes to show you why they are two of the best to lace up the boots. They are brilliant. Nick Nemeth is just, in a new lease of life after leaving WWE, for being in WWE 14 or so years, coming here and showing what he can do. So good. The walking weapon, Josh Alexander, one of the most gifted wrestlers in the business today. They put on a 30-minute clinic of wrestling. Just go out of your way to watch that match. It does hit the time limit draw. The fans didn't like it, nor did Nick Nemeth. And the fans wanted 5 more minutes. Nemeth wanted the 5 more minutes. The ref leaves it and says to Josh Alexander, "Do you want it?" Gets to his feet. He looks nervous and he leaves the ring. Nemeth stops him, brings him back, and as he does that, Alexander low blows Nemeth. He does put his hand on the female official as well, which didn't quite expecting that at all. He takes his Nemeth's title and heads into the ring, gets in Nemeth's face and says, "This belongs to me," as Impact Wrestling goes off the air. Loved it. It was such a good match. Those two are just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. More of that, please, TNA. Really looking forward to seeing hopefully another match between those two because those two can go so well. It was a great match. Yeah, it was a shame it didn't end the way it did, but actually, yeah, I actually liked the fact, and to be honest, I liked it that it didn't end with a clean win because it sets up another one with those two. Could we get an Iron Man cage match? I don't know, but these two can go in the ring, and that if you wanted a match which fits what TNA believes or defines TNA, that was it right there. Alexander and Nemeth. Brilliant, brilliant match. It's a quick rundown. Next week's action on TNA, we've got Charlie Dempsey versus Jonathan Gresham in what should be a technical masterpiece. Those two, Charlie Dempsey from NXT, the son of William Regal, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, against probably one of the best technical wrestlers of this generation in Jonathan Gresham. Frankie Kazarian will take on Kushida, will take on Hammerstone in an Ultimate X qualifier. Laredo Kid versus Bhupinder Singh versus Jai Vidal in another Ultimate X qualifier. It'll be a very intriguing one, that one. For sure. Alicia Edwards against Rosemary as well. And of course, Matt and Jeff Hardy versus the Moose and JDC. Guys, you know exactly what you need to do. Get onto the TNA Plus app and download it and get yourself watching Impact Wrestling each and every week live. Failing that, of course, if you're in America, AXS TV, and if you're in the UK and international, go to DAZN. Get yourself watching some TNA wrestling. That has been a really good review of TNA wrestling. A great show, pay-per-view quality show, in my opinion. Like most weeks, to be fair. But we'll be back next week with the very stacked card that they've already got. Already looking forward to reviewing this next week. And until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.